Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In today's video, we are talking about next generation hardware issues, scalping, Xbox issuing an apology, as well as an update on the Capcom hack. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, it's no secret that the PlayStation 5 is a pretty hot commodity right now. There are a lot of people out there who really want to get their hands on this system, but just can't. It's not really available anywhere, unless you turn to the scalpers on eBay. News has been flying around like crazy today about the insane prices of these PS5s showing up on eBay. Here is a perfect example. This PlayStation 5 is listed for $10,000. I mean, it does include the DualSense controller, Spider-Man, as well as Assassin's Creed, but I don't think that justifies a $10,000 price tag. Mind you, if you don't want to pay $10,000, you can pay $446 for 2 years. So basically buying a PS5 every month for 2 years. Now, obviously, this is an outlier. If we take a look at the other prices on eBay here, they significantly drop off. They're still way too expensive, but they do drop off from $10,000. So the next closest is listed here at $9,000. Then they go underneath $5,000. And it doesn't look like anyone's picking them up at this price point anyway. Here's one listed for $3,400 and 0 bids. Even switching over to the Xbox Series S and X, and the story here is no different. They're also listed at crazy prices. There's another one here listed at $10,000, and if we scroll down the list, there's a ton offered at over $1,000 each. There's a huge difference on what people are asking for systems and what people are willing to pay. So I've taken a look at a few of the completed transactions here, and for PlayStation 5, people look like they're willing to pay over $1,000. Here's one that sold for about $1,300 US. This one here sold for over $1,500 US. And here is another one that sold for just over $1,400. The Xbox Series X's look like they're going for just a little bit cheaper. Here is one that sold for $891 and another one that sold for $900. And here is a cinder block that was carved out to look like an Xbox Series X that sold for $5,000. If someone is willing to pay up to $10,000 for a PlayStation 5, I don't understand why they would go with the stock version. Why not go with an exquisite limited edition PlayStation 5 that's gold plated or rose gold plated or even platinum plated that all slot in to the $10,000-ish price point. Now, joking aside, the demand for the Xbox and for the PS5 has been insane. The customer demand has far outweighed supply. And actually, Phil Spencer went on record to apologize for not having enough Xboxes for everybody who wanted one. So even though the Xbox has sold out pretty much everywhere and Phil Spencer apologized for not having enough available, the Xbox still had its biggest launch ever. Xbox reports they have sold more new consoles than any prior generation. And Phil Spencer said in a previous interview that the winner of the console wars this season will be the company that can make the most systems because the demand is there. So I will say this, if you're in the market for an Xbox or a PlayStation 5 and you just want one now, wait, don't pick one up now. Don't go to a scalper. Don't overpay for these. You should really just be able to pay MSRP eventually. Both Sony and Microsoft are working as hard as they can to bring out more consoles for the consumers to buy. Probably for the scalpers to buy too, but I will say you might not be able to get one now, you might not be able to get one for a number of months, but eventually you will get one. FOMO, fear of missing out, runs rampant in the gaming world whenever a brand new console comes out. And to be honest, it's not worth getting tied up in fear of missing out. There aren't a lot of exclusives right now for either of these consoles, and some people are starting to report issues with their hardware. There have been a ton of reports about the new Xbox overheating, and the PlayStation 5 isn't immune to issues either. There's a huge subreddit thread here specifically dedicated to launch system issues. If you scroll through this thread, there is a lot of conflicting information here and a lot of speculation. A lot of people are saying don't put the PS5 into rest mode when you're playing Spider-Man. Don't connect an external hard drive to it, don't plug it into Ethernet, and don't transfer stuff from the PS4 to it. It's really interesting going through this thread, but there is one thing that is really clear. There are a lot of software and possibly hardware issues right now with the PlayStation 5. Realistically though, this is kind of to be expected with launch system consoles. A lot of people joke saying if you buy a launch system console, you're essentially a beta tester. And that seems to kind of be the case here. Mind you, these consoles do have warranties, and hopefully nothing is catastrophic where people actually have to use the warranty, send their PS5 away to be serviced, because then they are without their PS5 for an extended period of time, which kind of negates picking one up on launch to begin with. Now, shifting gears to Capcom. Last week I talked about the Capcom hack in detail. I will leave a link to that video in the description below if you do want to check it out. Anyways, there were a couple of takeaways that I had from there that I wanted to pay attention to. Number one, Capcom said they did not know if any personal information had been compromised. And number two, there was a pretty hefty ransom that was demanded by the hacker group that nobody really thought Capcom was going to pay. So as it turns out, some personal information was compromised and Capcom also didn't pay the bounty, so the hacker group is starting to release information. Included in the leak was the Devil May Cry 2 source code, Umbrella Chronicles source code, as well as a ton of information about upcoming games. Now, some of this information was tied back to 2018, so things might have changed since then. In regard to personal information that has been leaked, they have verified that personal information of former employees had been leaked, including name and signature, names and addresses, as well as passport information, which is pretty serious. Now, in terms of customer data, potential compromised data, they state names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, birthdays, gender information, as well as shareholder numbers and even amount of shareholdings. So there is quite a bit of information that is potentially compromised. Now, for any of those people who may have been compromised, Capcom has begun contacting individuals whose information it has verified to have been compromised to explain the background of this incident and current situation. So if you get a call from Capcom, you might want to listen. And last but not least, I want to end this video on some positive news. So it looks like Puma is teaming up with Nintendo to release a very limited edition Super Mario Bros. Line of shoes. There are going to be 5 different pairs of shoes in total. The RS Dreamer representing Super Mario Sunshine, Future Rider representing Mario 64, RS Fast representing Super Mario Galaxy, and scrolling down the page here we have Clyde representing Super Mario Sunshine, and my favorite out of the bunch, Future Rider, celebrating Super Mario for the NES. I don't have details on overall availability or overall price just yet, but given the fact that this is Nintendo, I'm going to guess that these will probably be expensive and hard to get. Anyways, that is all I've got for today. Let me know what your thoughts are about anything I talked about today in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Thank you everyone, take care.